The amount of nitpicking at ISOM #1 has been on a grander scale. And I thought with Ethan Van Sciver, with Cyberfrog Blood Honey, Many Moods Back was bad. And then somehow it is escalated with Eric July's ISOM #1. I was just like, holy crap. Like, man, I was like, man, am I being too harsh on my critiques ahead of the book? But then I've seen the stuff that some people have said. I'm like, wow, there is like a whole other level of nitpicking. I'm like, really? Like, you could look at a bunch of old comic books and being good ones, and you could say, okay, they were doing this then. Were you critiquing that book? And we could maybe point out to a number of books. You could talk about maybe an old Captain America comic, an old X-Men comic, an old even Batman comic. Like, there is unparalleled the amount of stuff that's going on. It's all because he made $3.7 million on that. And yes, it's not a 10 out of 10 book. I don't even think it's trying to strive for that. As he says, this is a slow building, grounded story that is really rooted in introducing the universe and, of course, to the character of Avery Silverman. So I'm going to give you 5 reasons on why I truly know, and yes, I said no. Fuck, that'd be crazy if I'm wrong. But I'm going to say no, because I believe what I say, that ISOM #2 will eclipse ISOM #1.
As I suspected, 32 flavors.
Now, the reasons that I'm going to tell you why ISOM #2 will absolutely eclipse ISOM #1, honestly, it's not going to be anything mind-blowing. If anything, it should be common sense to me, but I'm trying to speak more so common sense rather than try to talk like, I don't know, like big word speak, because I want people to understand where I'm coming from with this. There's a time and place for big words, but it doesn't need to be elaborated every other word. So we're going to make this make sense so that if you're someone who doesn't know the Rippaverse or doesn't know about comic books in general, you can come in, understand it right away. And when you want to move on to other things, you can move on to more technical stuff. That is called having a gateway. So #1, this should be very easy, but Eric has experience this time around. More experience, might I add, to correct myself, because even I had to correct myself on videos for you to see. See, I'm getting my own critiques. So Eric's got experience. This is a big one here, because between having years of getting his Rippaverse Bible, working on ISOM #1, and then going into ISOM #2, collaborating with the Saska sisters, of course Chuck Dixon, he got Chuck overhead, he got EVS, telling you, hey, do this, work on this. This is good. He is, despite what some people like to think, he is taking criticism from some people and realizing, okay, this person is actually out for my best interest and wants me to succeed. So Eric's got experience this time around versus him being a full-on rookie with ISOM #1. He's a brand new writer, hot off the street. So this is going to make a difference. And if it's any indication with John Malin, with Graveyard Shift, EVS, with Cyberfog, both of those guys improving the craft with writing over time, I truly believe Rippa is going to go leaps and bounds with this one. So believe it when I say he's going to do that. So #2, though, I'm going to say this comic will be longer. That's my second reason. The comic will be longer. This makes such a big difference because he can elaborate on his story more. He can tell more words with it. He can have sequences, whether it's a fight scene. He can have more of it play out, get more of the dialogue and the pictures, the art. He can tell it more fluidly. And when he can tell it more fluidly, he can see things happening more step for step. Whereas one of my critiques with ISOM #1, it felt like some of the fight scenes were missing a panel or two in between the fights. So it's like, okay, cool, there's badass fight going on, but I felt like there was parts where it was missing something. Like, okay, like we skipped a panel or something. Like, I don't know if it got taken out. So I feel like 112 pages would be a lot more beneficial to Eric's writing and to Cliff Richards' art. So I see #2 being an absolute win on that. And #3, ISOM #2 will read exactly as ISOM #2, or in some cases, depending on how you interpret it, as ISOM #1. Because yes, ISOM #1 did introduce Avery Sylvan. It introduced, his family, basically, what his job was, what he did do, what his suit was. Gave you hints into, he quit the superhero gig again. Why did he do it? Why is he after Darren Fontana? So you got some stuff that you answer, but you also have a lot of nuggets of mystery. So also, you had the Norfolk Hub being introduced. You had the twins at the nightclub being introduced, the guy and the girl. You had Darren Fontana, you had Alpha Core, Yaira. You were also trying to learn about who these characters were. This time, ISOM #2 has an opportunity to be strictly an Isom book. Now, I'm not saying that none of those characters I mentioned will appear, because obviously you got Darren in there. You got to have Jasmine be in there. So you got to have a little bit of that. But as far as like his supporting cast, his villains, his town, his world, his life, Isom number 2 could truly be the first proper book to give us that in detail. And now, of course, still leave us with some mysteries to leave us hanging, as all good comic books should. Because to me, Isom number 1 read more like Rippaverse number 1, more rather than Isom number 1. I saw Rippaverse number 1. But you know what? That's good. We're getting somewhere. And then, of course, number 4, this is the second issue of a 3-issue story arc. So I was like, okay, I like this. The Ill-Advised, all right. With this second issue being the middle issue of the 3-issue arc, this has potential to be an issue where we could have a big cliffhanger reveal. And with that cliffhanger, and I truly believe this is going to be the one that ends on a cliffhanger, it's going to be like, crap! I want issue number 3 now. Do not leave me hanging like this, Eric. Don't you do this, Gabe. Don't you do this, Cliff. What is this? This is, no, you can't, no. Can we fast forward past Alpha Core number 1, Yaira number 1, because I need Isom number 3. I can't wait on this. Why are you going to do it to me? When I say comments like, why are you doing that to me? That's what I want to be wanting to, because I want that cliffhanger like, ah, or something like, damn it, Darren, why are you so evil like that? That's what I want. That's why I want that cliffhanger. And I truly believe this feels like being that middle issue that leads to the conclusion. We're going to get that. I'm all in on that. And then number 5. This is a customer related one, not a story related one. But for the customers, this is the ultimate benefit, because being, 16 pages longer than Isom number 1, it stays the same price. And that's great, which means that Yaira Alpha Core will be slightly cheaper for being the traditional 96 pages format, which is their tradition of format is 96. So I truly believe that the customer wins when this book is longer, but the price stays the same. So I know, especially with all that inflation trash going on, people are definitely hurting. This is letting you know, okay, yeah, we added more pages of story and art here, but it's still the same price. So hopefully that gives people incentive to want to stick around. Like, okay, I want to see what goes on here, and I'm going to stick around, because most things, when they have more, the price goes always up more. That's just the way of life, the way it's always worked, and sometimes it's justified, sometimes it's not. But obviously, the Rippaverse comics, they are in a position where they can, add more and still sell for the same. That is wonderful, and that means that we should continue to support these books, especially if we like them. Especially if we like them. If you don't like Isom's book, maybe you like the Yaira book, maybe you like the Alpha Core book, or whatever books are come. Also, yeah, those are my 5 reasonings for why Isom number 2 will eclipse Isom number 1. Now, to that, I have one question I want to ask. What's going on with Norfolka? I want to know more about Norfolka. Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Norfolka? 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 Tell me, where are you?